Hey y'all, it's Kate from the Literary Apothecary, and we're going to be doing our weekly reading wrap-ups a little bit different from now on, just like I mentioned in my earlier video. So we're going to have a section for announcements and a section for book mail and book hauls, and then we'll go into all of my reading updates. So first with our announcements. As you can see, if you've watched my video earlier this morning, we have a new channel name and a new logo to reflect our online bookstore, which I talked about in my announcement video this morning. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it here. Go check it out. It's a really quick video, but it talks about our bookstore and our new channel named the Literary Apothecary. And so that's the format going forward, is going to be announcements if we have any, book mail, book haul. Then I'm going to talk about books that I finished reading this week, my current reads, and my future reads going forward. So first with our book mail. First, I want to thank Sharon at Sharon Dwyer, and I will link her channel there. If you are not following Sharon, you got to follow her. She is amazing, and she's got some really exciting videos coming up this year, including specific vlogs about King Arthur legends. So Sharon is one of my really good friends, and she sent me this book, The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman, and we're going to be doing a joint collab later this year about books about libraries and magical libraries and bookstores, so I can't wait to get started on that with Sharon. Thank you again, Sharon. And then the second book that I have to talk about is a book that I picked up for myself, I think about 2 weeks ago now. This was on sale at Target, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I just couldn't resist this cover. It's just beautiful, and it called at me at the store, and it was on sale, so I picked it up. I know Jessie at the Bookish Mom is really excited about this book, and I also learned since then that it's the first book in a planned series. So I can't wait to get into this, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Now on to our reading updates. So this week I finished listening to the audiobook of Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, and I gave that book 4 stars. I thought the audiobook was just fantastic. One quote that I was able to pull out from Their Eyes Were Watching God, it says, "She was too busy feeling grief to dress like grief." If you've ever grieved someone so strongly that you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, you know this quote. She was so busy feeling that grief and missing that person that died that she didn't even know what the traditions were. She didn't remember what she was supposed to do, and so I could really relate to that quote. Now on to our current reads. So yes, I'm still reading The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, but I am less than 100 pages to the end, so hopefully today, maybe tomorrow, I'll finish this up, but so close to the end, I can't wait to finish it and move on to the next one next month in March. So where I'm at now is the whole gang is now back together with 2 additional members that Rand and Matt have found along the way. We've got Master Gale and Loyal, who's an Ogier. And Loyal tells Rand that the wheel of time weaves the pattern with lives instead of thread. And I've decided that I don't like Nagawan, I think that's how you say her name, at all. She's just always got attitude and she's never happy, but yet she was the one that followed them on this journey. No one asked her to go along with her, but she's never happy and she never trusts anyone. So it's a little weird. We also learned that Moraine thinks Tom the Gleeman is still alive. She says that his life is now intertwined with Rand and Matt and Perrin's lives, and so she thinks he must still be alive. So that's a new revelation, and I can't wait to see how this book ends. Like I said, I'm 100 pages away, so hopefully tonight or tomorrow I'll finish this up and be able to let you know how this all ends. Now on to Skyward. So in Skyward, I love the character Mbot. He's this talking ship that can simulate emotions, and he's got so much sass and attitude. He is great. In chapter 18, Mbot goes through this identity crisis, and because he has no master and he says he has no purpose, and we get a little bit more of Mbot's personality there. And then at the start of part 3, we get this weird interlude that Brandon Sanderson puts in. And we learn in this interlude that Ironsides tries to remember all the pilots' lives that were lost under her command. And she writes to the families personally. We also learn through Cobb that the scans of Spence's brain might possibly show what they call a defect that will tell them if she's, quote, a coward like her father was. In chapter 21, Spencer learns that Cobb was ordered to shoot down her father, and she thinks that Ironsides is the one that gave that order. In chapter 22, we get a very nice ice cream chat, but Mbot is sad because he can't taste ice cream flavors. And then in chapter 25, Mbot pretends to mourn the fallen space junk that Spencer and her classmates are shooting down in class. And he says, "I would have pretended to know you if I were capable of lying." And that just is a nice little quote that made me chuckle because it gives you a glimpse into Mbot's personality. So the last thing that I have to check up on is Brothers Karamazov, and I started a buddy read of this giant book, which is going to go through February and March with Leslie at their new narrative and Christy Dostoevsky Lost in Space and the Codex Cantina, and I will link all of their channels in the description. At the start, before this book starts, we get a note by the author. And I loved this note by Dostoevsky because it's so honest. He writes that he's almost glad this book is often broke into two because then the reader can choose whether they want to continue or stop. He continues on to say that this often happens. Some will stop after the first half of this book. Some will want to stop after just 2 pages, but then there's others, like the Russian critics, who will push through to the end. And one of the things that I was pleasantly surprised with by reading this book is it is so funny. There is like this very particular sense of humor in this book that you didn't really get in Crime and Punishment, also written by Dostoevsky. And one quote that I've been able to pull out so far talks about our main character's father, and it says he aspired to be the rank of a sponge, and that just made me laugh so much. So now on to our future reads. So when I'm done reading Skyward, I'll move on to From Blood and Ash by Jennifer Armentrout, which is a buddy read with a lot of my Discord friends, Ajna and Abby and Sharon and Angela and Katrina. We're all wanting to read these books together. Some of them, they're favorite books, like Ajna. She sent me this book, and she said this is one of her favorite books. And I can't wait to jump into that pool with them so I can really be part of that conversation with them. And then when I'm done finishing reading The Eye of the World, I'll be moving on to Midnight at the Blackbird Cafe, which is my book club book for at work. So I can't wait to start that book. But that's it for now. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever we put up new videos. Don't forget to keep reading, and I love you all to the moon and back.